Hi, everybody. Welcome. Welcome. It looks like we have 23 people here. There are a few people who couldn't make it today, so we will be recording this and sending that link out and also posting it on the COSA coordinator site. I'm glad you could join us today. I'm Mary Treese, Manager of Educational Services. We actually have Dr. Davita Colbert here. Dr. Colbert, can you wave? She's there. And we have our literacy team, who I'll be introducing in just a minute. We're glad you're here. We know time is of essence for you right now. There's a lot going on as you're working hard to do what's in the best interest of your students, your families, your community, and still taking care of yourselves and your own family. We recognize that, but we couldn't be happier with your participation in this initiative. We never expected to be in this room when we moved into this initiative. We have taken a lot of steps to adapt to the current circumstances, and we just feel an honor to be able to work with the COSAs that you are providing for us as we work deeply with them to help build literacy leadership in your district and in your schools. We want you to think of us as partners. We want to partner with you, and we want to not only continue to build the capacity and deep learning of your COSA and help build their skills and ability to be that literacy lead in your district, but we also know that it's important for us to keep open communication with you as the COSA coordinators and the actual leads in your district who are going to make all of this happen, the whole coaching framework happen. So we want to make sure that we're being mindful and communicating to you in clear terms. We do email updates, and we think every once in a while it's good to just jump on a Zoom meeting and let you know where things are, make sure if you have any questions or if there's any ways we can continue to support you. We feel like it's hard for you to support the COSAs if you're not clear about what it is we're doing with them and working with them and how you can lead into and leverage that to the best of your capability within your local district. So we promise we're going to keep this short, but we have so much to share with you today, and we're very excited. So next slide, Laura, please. I'm going to introduce our literacy team that we have here with us today. We have Mary Lou. I'm going to go right across the screen. Trimble, Laura Gabrion, Colleen Whalen, Michelle Wagner, and Melissa Wilson. I'm sure that you've been in contact with one or a couple of these. Bridget Regan is also with us, though she's not pictured here. She's also a literacy consultant on our team. This is the core team around the coaching initiative. They are all MESA trained intensive coaching institute facilitators. There are very few statewide, and we have most of them right here in Wayne County, and they're also all either former coaches and or coach supervisors. So they're bringing a depth of experience to all of this around literacy and around literacy coaching. One thing I want to remind you of is that everything that we do, we try to archive the resources for you on this site. This is lln.resa.net. There's a tab under literacy coaching where it says COSA coordinator. That's for you. Remember, COSA's coach on special assignment, and you're the dedicated coordinator from your district. That was a requirement from the grant. And here you can find everything that we've shared with you from the beginning until now. And we think this is important because there's a lot going on. And I know some of you, I see Caitlin, hi Caitlin, some of you just kind of got thrown into this role very recently. So we want to make sure that you have access to all of the resources that we've provided from the beginning. There's the grant parameters, the allowables, there's information in there on how to bill, and a copy of the MOU that we're still working through. So everything that you can think of that we've shared with you, we've tried to archive there so that you have easy access to it. The recording from today will also be there. So if there's anything you need to go back and listen to or look for again or share with a colleague, you're more than welcome to do that.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and take over. We're very excited to announce that we have, in addition to our LLN Network COSA page, we now have a page dedicated just to the COSA themselves. You'll notice in the middle of the page, it says COSA login. This page is not public. It is only for those who are part of the COSA initiative, and we allow them to enter into this space and have access to any resources that we are providing during our professional learning. Specifically, we are posting any of the resources used in the asynchronous or synchronous learning that's taking part in the academy currently, and then other relevant updates. So we're really excited that this is a new addition and a communication piece for our COSAs. As you remember in March, or if you are just joining us, we want to make sure that we understand that our COSA has specific roles. And part of that role is being a conduit between the state, the county, and the district. So our COSAs will be attending state meetings to glean any of the coaching initiative information, and they'll be bringing that back and sharing it within their districts that align with what's going on in their districts, as well as being a voice in the county through the Wayne County Coaching Network. So there really are a conduit that goes between these three areas, state, county, and district, but more so being part of your leadership, your literacy leadership team, and being part of that integral work. So as you remember in March, we talked about all of the stakeholder commitments. We went over our commitments at Wayne RESA to provide the professional learning and the network structure to help support your COSA's work. In the districts, we ask that you commit to assigning a COSA coordinator and someone who we can be in communication with and make sure that all expectations are on the table. And then we ask that our building leadership to also be involved with our coach on special assignment. So there's that clear communication of expectations and policies when we are talking about the coaching work. And then our COSAs, of course, we're asking them to commit directly, working directly with K-3 teachers in helping them to improve their instructional practices when it comes to literacy. All of this is noted on the first timeline that we provided back in March. And as we know, when we are moving through this work, that changes are inevitable. So what we've done is we've kind of revised that timeline, and we want to give you an update of what your COSAs have been partaking in the last couple of months. You'll see on the timeline June, July, and August, we have been holding introductory remote meetings that sure that all of your COSAs have the information about their expectations for their roles and giving them an opportunity to ask any questions. So it's really that clear communication of what their roles are going to be. We just recently in August, the end of July and August, added another component. After listening to the COSAs and their needs, we added a COSA conversation piece. And these are really informal conversations. We get together every 2 weeks. We invite your COSAs to join. It is not a requirement. And then what we did is we surveyed your COSAs to see, what are you interested in talking about? Knowing that our COSAs have a variety of experience. Some of our COSAs are new to coaching work. Some are very experienced. They've had years of experience, and some fall somewhere in between. So we wanted to give them a safe, comfortable environment where they could just do some networking, have an opportunity to have conversations, and those have been going very well. We have one left before the school year. We are also making our COSAs aware of the statewide kickoff training for the COSAs I believe that's in September. And that information is going to be going out to them and to you very soon. We wanted to highlight that we will be providing stipends for any of this work that falls outside of their contracted time. And that information will be going out as well. We are through the school year, starting in September when our COSAs go back into their school environments. We are going to continue to offer our professional learning in COSA collaborative sessions, the COSA net or the coaching network, and a variety of other virtual supports.
So with that, as we think about literacy instruction across Wayne County, we want you to know that regardless of what September might look like, whether we're working remotely or face-to-face, that our goal and our promise is that we are going to continue focusing on those literacy essentials, because we really do feel like every child in every classroom every day deserves access to high quality literacy instruction. But we also feel as if this is where our COSAs fit as well. No matter what school might look like, we want to ensure that our COSAs and coaches in general know how they can help and support teachers in order to ensure that those essential practices are being implemented with fidelity. So we will be here to support them. We've offered several times during the summer virtual coaching options just to help coaches wrap their heads around what does coaching in a virtual space look like. And Melissa Wilson has been skillfully facilitating those sessions just to help our coaches get an idea of what September might look like if they're virtual. And we will continue to offer those throughout the school year.
As we consider the parameters and the grant expectations that have been put in place, we wanted to share with you the opportunity that your COSA will have to document the good fine work that they're doing within your district. This stems directly from the MDE approved coaching model, as well as those allowable activities that most likely you've reviewed and will review with your COSA as they begin their work. As we think about that, as we think about using a new app that changes your slides, as we think about that work, we think about how we might document best, whether we're in a virtual, a hybrid, or a face-to-face setting. And so these snippets will provide a quick peek at what your COSAs will be recording in their day-to-day work. Certainly, we again lean into the grant parameters of the allowable activities, and we know that not only are they working with K-3 educators, they'll also serve as a leader, a literacy leader. And there you see that that is one of the allowable options. As I complete my log each day as a COSA, I'll consider, was this a direct coaching activity? Perhaps I'm providing professional learning, or perhaps I'm functioning as a literacy leader within my work. The next piece they'll consider is to think about what type of audience am I working with? Again, this is valid whether we're in a virtual or face-to-face setting, knowing that we're hoping that they are working not just with classroom teachers, but also at times with you and your leadership team as well. We also consider what was the length of the support. We know the research that we have around coaching and coaching impact leans into the highest amount of time being spent directly working with teachers in high impact coaching activities. These things are such as modeling and co-planning and providing feedback. And so by collecting this information from your COSA, we not only meet the grant parameters, we also hope to have a strong case to be provided to the state that says, this money was well spent, this money should be spent again, and this is how Wayne County approached the work. And so we truly hope that by your COSA and your leadership team encouraging and participating in this data collection, that we will have that strong case when the time comes to show what we've done in Wayne County. Embedded within our slides, both for those who are with us now and those who are watching later, is an opportunity to watch a well-crafted 5-minute video that our colleague Mary Lou Trimble has put together that goes through in depth the coaching log and what will be recorded. This too will be shared with your COSA so they feel as though they know not just what they're recording, but the why behind it as well. When we consider the why and we consider your purpose and your work within this initiative, we lean back into the image that was shown originally and thinking about serving as conduits. We serve as conduits especially to reinforce those strong communication loops that we know are so important when thinking around implementation science and truly building a cohesive approach to coaching. So at Wayne Riso, we are committed as your coaching colleagues to assist you in whatever way is best for you. When you think about your role as a COSA coordinator, we think about how best you might also serve as a conduit between yourself and the building leader that will benefit, or leaders that will benefit from your COSA being embedded within their school system. And so as you consider that work, think about the research that we know leans into the importance of initiatives that are guided and supported by leaders. Consider what kind of communication loops exist or might need to exist to ensure that not only you and your team understand the role of the COSA, but also that the building leader is able to communicate to his or her building staff. Here's our new colleague, and this is the role that they'll serve in. When we think about the essential coaching practices and the strong research-supported approach to coaching, we know that in practice 4, it's lifted up that the power and the importance of having leaders who are promoting and helping to maintain a strong coaching system. We think especially about the role the building principal will play. And we consider how might the building principals who are benefiting from having the COSA within their school building, how might they present them as we begin and think about rolling out the new year, whether this was a colleague who was there before, or perhaps someone new or in a new role. How will that be clearly communicated, what their role is, how it may or may not be different from other coaches that are working within the school system? How might they clearly describe the activities that the COSA is encouraged, and then those that are not part of the work that they'll be doing? How will they explicitly encourage classroom educators to take advantage of the COSA and the work that they're able to do side by side? So as you consider some of these questions, we would invite you to consider the opportunity to converse together. Knowing that you're in a network of fellow COSA coordinators, we would ask you to consider these questions as we invite you into a breakout room. Think about the current structures that you currently have in place. This may be your structure for leadership teams coming together, or other ways that you ensure consistent and clear communication throughout your chains. And consider how might you establish even further the importance of, as the COSA coordinator, what you might communicate to the building leaders who will have the COSA. How might especially the building leader communicate the allowable activities that the COSA will be encouraged to participate in those K-3 classrooms? And especially consider how might the Wayne Risa coaching consultants paired with your district be of assistance to both you and your building leaders as we consider the importance of not only communicating the role, but encouraging participation by inviting the COSA into classrooms. So be sure to post these questions as well in your breakout room. We wanted to give you 5 or so minutes to come together with a small group of colleagues to think around and together be thought partners around some of these things as we think about implementing the COSA initiative within our schools.
Hopefully you were able to share some different ideas with one another about how you are communicating that COSA position in your district, and then also how you might be partnering up with building leadership as you consider the roles the COSA will be taking on this year. And as we consider that last bullet, we wanted to remind you once again that each Wayne Risa consultant is trying to specifically personalize work for you in your district. We realize coaching programs look a little different in all spaces, and maybe the roles will look slightly different as well, but we want to make sure that you are aware that we're here to support you in any way that you might need with your coaching work as you move forward. Mary Lou and myself will be targeting these specific districts, so if you're from these particular areas, please reach out to us if you need some individualized support. And then as well as Michelle and Melissa partnering up together to provide support for these districts as well. So just to keep that in mind, it's one way for us to kind of hone in on the many districts that we support, but also giving services that you may need. Once again, we'd like to share with you some opportunities for professional learning as this year continues on. You may have seen this before, but we thought it would be important to share again with you all of the opportunities for many different roles throughout this initiative. So of course, we've been engaged in the COSA Academy this summer, and our cohort 2 will be starting next week. Our COSA Academy has had a lot of feedback from our first cohort, and a lot of successful things have been shared, and hopefully a lot of things will be able to connect with the teachers that they're supporting this year. We'll also continue to have ongoing professional study. As Mary Lou mentioned a little earlier, we do have our coaching network in place as well as a COSA collaborative. This will be opportunities for your COSAs to get together and network with other COSAs and district coaches throughout the county. And then also we wanted to be sure that you are aware of the opportunity for the school and center-wide professional learning around those essentials, which will be offered throughout the year as well. Earlier in the timeline, different opportunities for learning were shared with you. We just want to make sure that everyone is aware of the professional learning for coaches. Remember, within the COSA initiative, the grant is covering any costs that might come up with any of these services that are provided. So again, the coaching network that was mentioned, also some of the work around entering into the conversation, some of that work around Diane Jackson and Coaching 101. All of these items will be covered underneath the initiative, and grant will be covering that cost. And then of course, hopefully, I'm sure many of you are aware of the Summer Learning Blitz that's happening currently. Each day of the week in August, there is a professional learning opportunity. They usually last about 1 hour. And then the following 30 minutes are for people who would like to stay on board to get a little bit more in depth with what the session was about, and maybe some facilitating skills. How might you take some of the work that we have done
and incorporate that in some of the professional learning you'd like to bring back to your district. So once again, please share those out. We've had a tremendous response. Yesterday, Mary Lou and I did a group, and we had 230 some people register, and so that was really exciting. But we see that there's a need, and this is our attempt to support you during this time. We're really trying to think about best practices in a classroom setting, and then really tweaking them to think about what do we know best about virtual settings. And so we hope we continue to support you. Your COSA should be the lead in that learning as they head back to your district as school begins. We wanted to keep this session short, but also keep you updated on things that have been happening. We'd like to open it up to any of you. If you happen to have any additional questions that the team can answer, we'd be happy to answer any of those. Please just unmute yourself and go ahead and shoot out those questions, or you may place them in the chat.
I think that most people, I'm Jacqueline Parker from Melvindale Schools. I think they answered most of my thing about the coaching log. So that's going to be attached to you only, or will we at our district, the COSA coordinator, be able to see that and use that also as our, since we're paying the rest of her money out of 31A, we also keep proof of logs. Will that be able to be used for us as well?
I think I can speak to that. Initially, what we really were looking at that as a piece of systematic data collection to really measure the impact of coaching and through this COSA initiative throughout Wayne County. We have not discussed about releasing the data, but that is something that I'm so glad you lifted. We're looking at the sheer size and amount of data that's going to be collected on this coaching log because it is a daily collection for all of the activities that they're doing. And it aligns with that MDE model. We want to make sure that we are within the parameters of the grant of doing that 75% of kindergarten through third grade teachers, and then the other 25% underneath that literacy leadership team. So it is something where we can explore, and thank you for lifting that. But right now what our plan was is just being part of that systematic data collection to measure impact.
No, that is perfectly fine. I don't need to, I just wanted to make sure because we do have specific coaching logs that everybody has to fill out. And I'm going to look through your video you attached just to make sure and see if there's, what there is on that, and just to make sure that she's not doing double the work every day for that. Thank you so much.
That is really important. We don't want to overtax our coaches. We actually took the coaching log and did a beta test with various coaches in the county that are not COSAs that have been practicing for a while, and got some feedback with them as far as efficiency and the amount of data that we were collecting. So thank you for lifting that.
One thing I might add on that topic is that during our COSA Collaborative, we're going to have an opportunity to go back into that log and see how things are going. We have an opportunity to revise that since this is all new to us. So we're going to really take all the feedback that the coaches are giving us, and we might tweak as time goes by. Our other hope is that as we have conversation around documenting the work we're doing, that they have conversations with you as the coordinator, making sure that they are meeting all of the protocols and the parameters within the grant.
Okay, so if there's nothing, no other questions in the chat, and you certainly know how to get a hold of any of us if you have any questions or something occurs to you later on. We said we would keep this time brief, and we really appreciate your time. We know it's important to keep clear communication. We don't want to be working with your COSA over here in isolation without you being clear about what's happening and how the work the COSA is doing with this network can also support you and your district. So we will continue to send email updates, and we will continue to invite you to reach out to any of us if there's any way we can support you or answer any questions for you. So with that being said, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much. We'll plan some short update meetings every once in a while. Otherwise, we'll update through email. Let us know if you have any questions. Thank you, everybody.